Welcome back to the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs. It's time for the Fast five stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. I'll kick it off with the first of 5 stories. Silly season is in full swing, and the number 78 and 47 team are seeing some crew chief changes. JTG Doherty Racing announced this week that several internal changes are coming to their organization, including the cars driven by David Reagan and Bobby Labonte. Now, Todd Barrier used to drive for the 47 of Bobby Labonte. He's now moving over to crew chief for the 78 team of David Reagan. Taking his place is going to be David Hyder. There's also more changes at JTG Daughtry Racing, including Bobby Hutchinson's going to take over as general manager. So we're starting to see the silly season in full swing, and a lot of shifts and changes going on with rumors and speculation, and now we're starting to see some actual stuff falling into place.
You know what they need? They need a driver. I mean, they really do. They need somebody to come in there and... I mean, David Reagan isn't bad. Bobby Labonte's a great driver, but he's getting up there in age. They need somebody else.
I think Bobby Labonte's biggest issue, and this is an issue that's plaguing a lot of those little teams, is just simply funding.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have the money for the R&D. They don't have the money for the right equipment, for the right product, for the right everything. And it's just it's incredibly difficult to start up an organization unless you've got some massively funded driver.
I understand. Yeah, 100%.
Number 2, bud.
Andretti says Cup team in 2013 is highly unlikely. Now, we've been reading this, on these Fast Fives the last couple of weeks about this team coming, and all of a sudden you see this. So, Andretti says time is running out for his Indianapolis-based racing organization to join NASCAR for next season. The owner of Andretti Autosport said it's now highly unlikely that he'll be involved with the Sprint Cup Series in 2013. And I quote, "We've got a couple of sponsorship deals working, but it's getting late," Andretti said following the first practice of the Edmonton Indy. "It's not dead yet, but it's highly unlikely." Andretti bought his IndyCar team in 2003, but the cost of participating in IndyCar is at least 1/3 of what it takes to be in Sprint Cup. Wow. That's all I can say is wow.
Yeah, those things are damn expensive, and it's not like, we were just talking about it with JTG Daughtry Racing, that it is incredibly expensive to be a part of this sport and to get going again. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It was funny. I'm not saying that it's funny because it's not funny, but we're sitting here talking about them joining NASCAR in 2013, and all of a sudden this comes out, and they may not be a factor. And we were talking about possible drivers. I believe Kurt Busch was one of them about going to Andretti Racing,
yep.
And wow, this is really going to shake the pot up a little bit.
And it kind of looked like Andretti Motorsports was going to be the only possible entry for 2013 for Dodge.
Yeah.
There's always possibility that Dodge has got something in the works that we don't know about. Somebody already has decided to switch.
Dodge will be here.
Just because you drive a Dodge truck does not mean Dodge is going to definitely be there.
Well,
ask him where his Dodge is at right now.
He drove a Dodge truck.
What'd you do to it, bud?
That's something for slinging dirt.
It's a typical Dodge.
Broke down on the side of the road, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It broke in half.
You broke the U-joint and the trans, right? Not the trans, the transfer case.
The transfer case and the adapter coming off the back of the transmission all the way out to the rear end broke.
Andrew, what's number 3? Let's let Bud kind of sulk in his sorry. He's got that's not funny because you've got pretty good bill ahead of you.
Quit laughing.
It's kind of funny.
I can help you out, bud.
Operator error.
Number 3. We talked about this last week, too. The military sponsorship will be allowed now to continue in 2013. The bill to restrict the military branches from sponsoring sporting events was shut down, allowing our armed forces to continue to sponsor sporting events such as NASCAR, which is good because last week we all kind of didn't want to see him not be in the sport anymore,
yep.
Which I figured they'd turn around and eventually sponsor the sport again.
I think NASCAR gives the military more love than any other sporting event in sporting
I would have to agree
competition.
wholeheartedly on that.
Every single race is honoring somebody. There's always somebody from I know when they go to Kansas, they always grab somebody from I can't remember the base that's up there that they fly the stealth bombers out of, but they're always honoring somebody. They're always doing something with the military and helping them out in some ways. So this is good to see, and I think a lot of people were in the understanding that this bill, and I was actually one of them, if I was told correctly that this bill was going to cut defense spending, the money that they restricted from sponsorships was going to be cut out of the budgets, and the budgets were going to be redone so that, it's what, I think $72 million or whatever is
something
what they spend. Then that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with it. In a tough economy, you got to cut corners, and if this is where you got to cut them, then you got to cut them. But it came out later in the week, after we'd recorded the show, that it turns out that they weren't going to actually be cutting spending. They were going to move it somewhere else. So after that came out, I think this bill lost a lot of momentum, and that's what dropped it. But the scary thing is that this is going to come up again next year, or the next time that they're up for renewal on this thing. And so people have got to contact anybody and everybody they can and let them know that you want your NASCAR sport to be sponsored by the military. So on to number 4. Indy race has been formally named. Last week we kind of poked fun a little bit because it was formally the Crown Royal presents Your Hero's Name Here, Indianapolis Brickyard 400. That was the name of the race, but I didn't realize that the Your Hero Name Here was actually going to be changed to an actual hero, so I got to apologize for kind of making fun of it. But formally it has been titled
You're blonde. The
Crown Royal presents the Curtis Schaefer 400. While local firefighters saved Troy native Curtis Schaefer's life during a tragic farming accident, Schaefer knew he'd found his calling. Basically, Schaefer had become a big advocate. A big advocate for funding and raising money for these guys. And for the sake of not reading this entire news story, there was a giant contest to nominate somebody to be named the Your Hero Name Here, and Curtis Schaefer was named. He'll be honored later today at the Brickyard 400. So I think that's awesome. I go from kind of poking fun at the name to thinking that was really cool.
Well, I don't want to make fun of this here, but as I'm reading this, Curtis has 2 S's on the end, and it's spelled Shaver. So I was sitting there going, presents the Curtis's Shaver 400. So at first I didn't know what it was until I started reading, and then when I listened there,
I was doing the same thing. The Curtis's Shaver.
Listen,
Shaver.
I think we've
is there
proven.
a new razor blade that came out or something?
I think we've proven here today. You don't have to have a bucket of intelligence to run a radio show.
No, we got you.
Go on with number 5, and let's finish the Fast 5. Bud.
Oh, Penske will get B sample results on Thursday, despite the fact that you're hearing this on Sunday and the results are more than likely out already. But as of the time we recorded on Tuesday night, we all knew was that Penske would be receiving the sample results on Thursday.
And that'd be the B sample results. And I think we've talked that one dead, but it's worth bringing up again. Just simply that because we're not talking about it today is because we recorded on Tuesday before the B sample result came out. So worth bringing that up. And if I may bring up a fast sixth, just a quick one. I realize this just as we're sitting here. Today's actually an ESPN broadcast. TNT's schedule is over with. It's now over to ESPN, so make sure you make the switch as this is going to be on ESPN 1. That was the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. The flagman has given us the signal of halfway done, so we're going to head into turn 3, and we're going to talk with Josh Most, driving the number 92 late model and modified.
The high side hustler.
The high side. I called you the man in black, but then you went and painted your car, so that nickname went away. So we're going to have to come up with another nickname, and we'll leave 4 letters out of it. So Josh Most just around the corner here on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.